Quote number 5 comes from our guy Epictetus. Gosh, this is one of my favorite. I wrote about this over on troyfarkas.substack.com. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Matt, what does that mean to you?
It brings you right back to 2 years ago, my first year of teaching. I threw that on the board after a day of kids not talking too much. And one of the kids was like, "Is this on purpose? Did we talk too much yesterday?" And I go, "I don't know. Write about it and we'll find out." So I use Stoicism with my kids during COVID to relax a little bit. And it's true. I use it now. I'm like, hey, you have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. Like, listen, watch, and then we'll move on. We can talk later. Then someone are like, "Well, I have 2 lips." I'm like, okay, fair point, but 1 mouth. So yeah, it's just taking the time, observing the situation, kind of what we just talked about, seeing like, not freaking out, not calling someone and being like, "Oh my gosh, I need a stove or a microwave." You have your hot plate. You have a place to sit and rest and eat. Listen to yourself, figure it out, take a moment, assess the situation, and move forward. There's no need to overreact. Don't make it bigger than it has to be, like we talked about earlier. In any situation, whether it's athletics, whether it's life, or any relationships you have, just take a second, listen to the people speaking, try to envision where they're coming from, and then open the dialogue and have the conversation. Because if you listen and you watch, they should reciprocate because you gave them the time, and they should give you the time back and value their 2 ears and your 2 eyes first over your mouth.
As someone who works in podcasting, listening is all I do. It's actually the catchphrase for Spotify. Listening is everything, and it certainly is for me. Regarding the art of conversation is where this quote really hits for me. When I'm in a social setting, people will often say to me, "Troy, you're being so quiet. Why are you just sitting there?" And I'm like, no, I'm not sitting there. I'm not disengaged. I'm actually quite the opposite. I'm very engaged. I just have nothing to say. I don't really speak unless spoken to. There's a lot of people who jump into a conversation amongst a group just because they don't want to feel left out, just because they don't want other people to think that they're not invested, just because we want to hear ourselves speak, just because we want to talk about ourselves. My approach to it, largely shaped by this quote, is I'm enjoying listening. I enjoy learning about other people's experiences. My favorite thing in the world, and I think this would be one of yours as well, is just to go to a coffee shop with a friend one-on-one and just listen. That's why I love doing this podcast. This podcast is essentially just me going to a coffee shop with a friend, virtually or in person. I love listening to people. Everyone has a story. We've all been through so much. We're all battling things. We're all, we've got work challenges and relationship challenges. Life is just such a grind to get through every day, and it's so different for each person. Everyone experiences it differently. And I just love listening to people. I talk to myself in my own mind. I don't need to tell other people it's the same things that I'm thinking about. I want to hear from other people. I want fresh perspective. So we have 2 ears so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. We only have 1 mouth.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I have a friend here in Portland who I've been friends with for the 3 years I've been here, and we'll get a drink every couple of weeks, and I'll be like, "Hey, you haven't been talking too much." She's like, "I'm just listening. I love listening, and I love having a conversation." But I was like, no, I want to listen to what you have this time. Like you said, we're going through all the same stuff. Like, let me hear what you have, and we'll go through it. And it's just a fun way to take a moment, collect ourselves, and go through things and share experiences with one another and talk. I don't think we do that enough anymore at all. We just are 100% 100 miles an hour at all costs, and we don't take time to slow down, listen, and chat, especially over coffee.
Why is that?
I think, not to sound super old, but I know we're not, it's the damn phones, man. I remember, even last year, I'd wake up and be like, "Oh my gosh, no one texted me. I want to talk to someone right now." It's like, good. Today, I'm like, good, no one texted me. I can take a moment, journal, read, and I don't have to jump into a conversation. So I think it's that perpetualness of being connected. We are just so accustomed to it now. It's been, for some kids, their entire lives. or they don't have screenless Saturdays for like Troy. They just like are perpetually on them, and they're used to getting responses right away. And they don't, like if I told them, hey, wait 2 weeks, send a letter to me, I'll wait 2 weeks, send one to you, and then we'll figure it out. Like if I said that to someone, they'd be like, 2 weeks? That's like 1,000 text messages. So it's that interconnectedness, I think, which then domino theoried into lack of conversation skills, lack of listening, shyness of listening, and shyness of making eye contact. Like the past year, I've been really cognizant of maintaining and making eye contact with people, whether it's like their nose, eyebrows, or their actual like eyes. My principal the first week in school was like, I want you to know everyone's eye color by the end of first semester. And we're like, why? She was like, because that means you are connecting and listening to them and not like on your phone or doing work. You are knowing the person. And I could probably get all of them. Some of them be a guess, yes. But for the most part, I'll do it. And also it's just like, it's a nice moment when you gaze across someone and you're just like, you saw that, I saw that. Nice, you have a little moment. So I think everything comes back to that instant response and the phone. Not to sound like a boomer.